And we are back on Take Action News. Our next guest is Robert Borosage. Bob Borosage is the co-director of the Campaign for America's Future, an organization which, in the spirit of full disclosure, I will let you know, it provides me with a fellowship and a home, and they do great work. Bob, thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure. How's your voice holding up?
You know, after 3 hours, remarkably well. Of course, I probably won't speak the rest of the day, which will make my wife happy. But thanks for coming on. And I guess the question I wanted to ask you as we wrap up after these 3 hours, we've heard about a lot of issues. We've heard a lot of dimensions of the problem. What do you think will be the defining debate or debates of the coming year? As you know, it's obviously going to end with an election, a congressional election. What are the battles or the debates we should be thinking about that are going to shape 2014, in your opinion?
Well, the first big question is whether Congress does anything at all. It has to presumably lift the debt ceiling and keep the government open. I think Republicans are committed to that minimum. That requires passing a budget. But the first big battle is unemployment insurance. Will it renew jobless benefits for the millions of people who will lose them if they're not renewed? At this point, that's very unclear. That'll be the first battle out of the box. That will be followed by, I think, major skirmishing. It's not clear whether any of these come to a vote in the House on immigration reform and on raising the minimum wage. And I think through that process, you're going to see whether or not Republicans have decided that they will run, even though they are standing in the way of things that are very popular with the American people. Throughout the year, Republicans will want this to be a debate about Obamacare and the cost of health care, and they will blame every cent of insurance company price increases and customer gouging on Obama and the Obama health care plan. And then we'll head into the election in which the issues will be very different. I think the major issue in the election at the end of the day will be what the voters are concerned about, which is an economy that doesn't work for working people. And the question will be, who are they going to blame for that? I think there will be a very strong attitude about throwing all the bums out in both parties. And so I think incumbents generally will be weaker than normal. I think there will be a lot of disillusion, and so you can imagine a low vote turnout. And I think the question for Democrats, for progressives, or for that matter, for Republicans will be, who can credibly say to the American people they have a clue about how to get this economy on better track, and are prepared to fight for that.
Well, the challenge the Republicans will face is that their ideas are nonsensical. The challenge that the Democrats will face is that the public perception is that they've been in charge. So the public perception is likely to be, won't we get more of the same? So what can Democrats or progressives do or say to push a different kind of an agenda that might plausibly change things, and what should people be pushing their Democratic leaders to be saying that might change that equation a little bit?
Well, I think you've got that right. Republicans will be running against the economy that people do not like, and espousing a set of policies that people do not believe in. Democrats will be tempted, I think, led by the White House, to argue that the economy is on the right track and that it's growing and creating jobs, and give it time. If they do that, I think that's close to suicidal. The public rightfully sees this as an economy that is benefiting the very few, and in which most families are struggling simply to stay afloat. So the first question for Democrats, and certainly for progressives, is to be clear that this is not an economy that they are satisfied with. And then the second question, and that part of its problems are that Republicans have consistently stood in the way. in the way of investing in infrastructure and putting people back up to work, in the way of spending some money on school teachers and rehiring cops, et cetera, at the state and local level, in the way of raising the minimum wage and getting millions of people out of the shadows with immigration reform. I think there's an agenda there that's very clear about what's gone on in the past that shows Republicans are, part of the problem, a big part of the problem of this economy. But the big question for Democrats will be, where do they go on the trade deals? The president seems intent on putting trade accords before the Congress. They are unpopular and should be. And so are Democrats going to line up with the president, or are they going to lead the effort to say we need a very different way of relating to the world than one defined by multinationals that use these trade accords to drive down wages here and hide profits and avoid taxes abroad?
Well, Bob, we only have 30 seconds left, so I guess I would say in conclusion that I assume you would agree with me that the other thing Democrats have to be aggressive about is explaining what they would do about jobs and creating jobs if they weren't being hamstrung by these Republicans.
Exactly. I'm with you on that, and that's not going to be easy because the question is, who's credible in that if you haven't been fighting for it all along?
All right. Well, I think that that's a good summary of the battleground, and I think that leaves the rest of us obligated to push the Democrats to make that case more strongly. And if they want to know more about Campaign for America's Future, I think they can go to, in fact, I know they can go to ourfuture.org, OURFUTURE.org, to learn more about your work, my work, and the work of the organization as a whole. So, Bob, thanks so much for being with us.
And rest that golden throat.
Thank you. All right, this is Richard Eskow, and you've listened to our first broadcast as host of Take Action News. I guess in conclusion, and I'm being told that I should identify myself as RJ. I go by both names. So this is RJ Eskow telling you, in the words of Bob Dylan, you can call me RJ, you can call me Ray, you can call me anything. It doesn't matter what you say. We still have a big battle on our hands in the year to come. The Republicans are a lost cause, to convince the Democrats to fight on the issues that people care about: jobs, an end to oppressive trade, and a society that works for everyone. So we'll be doing that. We hope you'll join with us on Take Action News and fighting those battles. This is RJ Eskow. Thank you for listening.